On a less spinny ball, even a slow brush will get it over. But with more spin, you'll net it. This is your mistake right now. Your brushing tempo is wrong. Today, let's talk about some common misconceptions amateur players have. The first one is about looping the ball in the early falling phase. Can you attack the ball at this point? Because most amateurs have slower footwork and anticipation, this is often their contact point. Actually, you'll face this timing a lot. The first point I want to make is, even though the contact point is past the peak, you can and should still generate power and drive forward. This ball is attackable. Often, our contact position and rhythm aren't ideal, but that doesn't mean we must lift the ball. We need to be bold and meet the ball. Too late is no good, but the early falling phase is perfectly fine. You can attack this ball. It might not be a classic power loop, but you can still drive into it with power instead of just lifting it up because the contact point is low. When a better player moves you around, your contact point will almost always be in this position. I find most amateurs hit the net against underspin not because they can't handle the spin, but because their stroke is too vertical and they stop their follow-through too early, failing to create a proper arc. For most of us amateurs, no matter the contact point, if it's an underspin ball, you need to drive forward into it. Driving forward is a form of power generation. The question is how much power. On a good contact, maybe use 80% power. On a bad one, 50%. But you must actively drive forward, not just try to lift the ball up. Second point, against a fast, heavy underspin ball, should you brush more upward or more forward? I've recently discovered a key principle for the backhand. Amateurs have an instinct to dissipate power when the ball is close, by going up, sideways, flicking, or just blocking. I believe amateurs should be bold and try this. The more the ball jams you, the more you must dare to drive forward into it. It's like using its pace to generate your own power through the ball. As soon as the ball jams them, amateurs back off. They either brush it weakly upward or slice it sideways, but they never make solid contact through the ball. Think of it as your brush needing to make solid contact. So, against this kind of heavy underspin, be bold and give it a try. I'm just going forward boldly. See how I'm driving forward? Be aggressive and go forward. Your stroke must not be just your forearm snapping up or to the side from a fixed position. Your whole arm must send the ball forward. The feeling is, the ball pushes you, you push back. However, if you drive forward and hit the net, it means your brushing technique is off. But you must keep trying this way. Because if you just lift the ball, which many amateurs do against underspin, you have zero backhand attacking capability. You're just turning underspin into topspin. Even if you luckily lift it over, the shot is useless. So, we must be bold and drive forward. If it goes into the net, then I'll add more brush. I will practice this specific shot. You must have the mindset to drive forward into the ball. Your direction of force cannot be wrong. Why do you hit the net when you try to brush and drive forward? Let me serve you a slower one. Why can you loop that one, but when I add more spin, you hit the net? On a less spinny ball, even a slow brush will get it over. But with more spin, you'll net it. This is your mistake right now. You see the serve has a high frequency of spin, but you're still using a slow brush. Your brushing tempo is wrong. The more spin on the ball, the quicker your brush needs to be. The less spin on the ball, the speed of your brush doesn't matter as much. Quick brush, don't be soft. Nice. Same for the hook serve. Quick brush. Excellent. This hook side spin underspin serve I'm doing is very heavy. Why do we amateurs make this error? First, on the backhand corner, you're desperately backing away from the ball because you are actually afraid of it, causing you to lift up. Second, let's say your opponent's spin generation takes 0.3 seconds. If you take 0.6 seconds to brush the ball, you will inevitably hit the net. So, we need to complete the brushing motion quickly. That's how you get the ball on the table. Why do many players plateau? Because their opponent's serves get spinnier and their skills improve, but your loop hasn't changed. You're still using your old brushing ability against high spin balls, which leads to errors. A serve to the middle is also a problem. When I teach kids, I notice this. Whether your opponent serves topspin or backspin, why do you always just try to touch the ball back? You're simply taking the correct stroke and performing it in a different spot. You still need to brush the ball, and you still need to accelerate. You should get your footwork in position first, then hit the ball with a full, proper stroke. Players, don't just poke it back. The serve is your opponent's best weapon, you have to respect it. If you can just poke it back without moving, it only proves their serve is weak. Sometimes you're just overthinking. After brushing the ball, you don't trust that it will go over. So you add an extra lift with your upper arm, and the ball goes long. Can you feel, right at the moment of contact, whether you are going to land the loop or miss it? Yes, I can. If you can feel it, why add the extra upper arm movement? Because I feel it makes the arc safer. Wrong. That's a misconception. Let me explain the feeling of the shot. If you can feel that you've caught the ball on your racket, don't add extra movements. For example, at contact, first simplify your stroke, just brush and drive. Right now, after you drive, you might add an extra push with your arm. This is also very obvious on the forehand. You've clearly made solid contact, but you always add a bit more follow through. And it's precisely this adjustment that causes the error. I believe modern table tennis strokes are all about being compact and having a good breaking motion. When we were young, coaches told us to have a huge backswing and follow through. Now, strokes are getting smaller and smaller, even for the male pros. Therefore, it's the excessive follow-through that causes our unforced errors. I've found that the more compact the stroke, the more effective it is in a match. The consistency and accuracy are much higher. A bigger stroke is more prone to error when facing different rhythms, spins, and placements. It has a lower margin for error because the motion is longer. Especially on service returns, when you're not doing a serve and attack, and you're facing a high-quality ball. You must make your stroke more compact. Shorten the backswing, and shorten it after contact. No extra movements. Too many amateur errors come from generating force sideways or upward. If you can execute a normal stroke path, you'll find your opponent isn't as strong as you think. That's it. See, your brushing frequency is matching the spin. With the same power, I shorten my stroke and increase the frequency. The stroke amplitude must be smaller, and the brushing frequency must be faster. Let's explain the fourth misconception. Do you get overwhelmed when served to your full table? Your individual techniques are fine, but you can't combine them. Amateurs, you absolutely must not panic. What's happening with your forehand? Your body and hand are not getting to the ball, and your hand is rushing to the contact point. Why can't you first see where the ball is, and then execute your stroke? Same for the middle. Why do you often frame the ball or miss it completely? I went through this phase too. My coach used to say I was playing blind. Now I understand this is that phase. Now that we've been through it, I want to tell you all. Players, seriously, first locate the ball, then make your stroke. If I can't judge the position well, then I'll just delay my stroke a bit. That's fine. You need to train your ability to judge the ball's position, because a match is all about unpredictable placements. For example, if you serve me anywhere on the table, we must first find the position. Especially on sidespin underspin balls, just wait. Rushing to hit sidespin topspin on the rise is actually easier to return. The key is handling the sidespin underspin ball. Another issue, when you move to your forehand, don't open your racket face before your feet are in position. If you do that, you'll almost certainly misjudge the ball. Once your feet are set, you track the ball's position. Only after you see it clearly should you open up for your backswing. Look how fast this backswing is. Everyone, watch carefully. I start my backswing after the ball bounces on the table. Backswing on the sound of the bounce. You always start your backswing first. How can you adjust your position then? If the serve curves a little, floats, or changes pace, we can't even get the contact point right. I can assure you, the backswing is incredibly fast. You have time even after the ball bounces. So what is that extra time for? To read the ball accurately. If the ball is here, I backswing here. If it's there, I backswing there. I first read the situation clearly, then I initiate my backswing. Try this. You'll be so much more accurate. Right, read it then swing. Good shot. I'm serving you wide. See how much better that is? When you read the situation correctly, even if the ball is already here, I have time to do a backswing like this. Trust me, get this rhythm down. You will feel so much more composed on this shot, especially on service returns. Then there's the half-long ball. You think it's long, but suddenly it's short. These short and half-long balls are also very tricky. So, should we prepare for a long serve or a short serve? Right, prepare for long. When you prepare for a long serve, you can't be completely planted at the baseline. Because most amateurs now will use a short forehand serve to control you. Especially now with more hook and backhand serves, the ball will drift wide. A lefty's serve will drift too. The reason playing lefties is difficult is also because their placements are very wide. So, the biggest problem for amateurs moving in for short balls is that you move in with your body upright, which makes you slow. Next time, try this, prepare for a long ball. If it comes short, get low and move in, lifting your back heel as you go. I'm not saying to lift your heel before you move. I'm saying lift it while you're moving in. Right, prepare for long, don't worry about short for now. Hold your position. Once it's short, go. That's it. You actually have plenty of time. The problem is your center of gravity. Because your center of gravity is high, your reach is limited, so you feel like you can't get to the ball. Next time, try lifting your back heel as you move in. Your body will lunge forward instantly. We are all like this at contact. But if you get in there, you can complete your follow-through properly. Keep your center of gravity low. So, you don't need to worry too much about the short ball, you should still primarily prepare for a long one. Second point, when they serve you short, you have to accept the ball you're given. This might mean hitting it in the falling phase. For example, if I'm late to the ball, I'll hit it in the falling phase. So, I'll make a controlled push. Don't just poke it because you're late. Even if I'm late, I can do a long push. I can make a controlled push and drive forward through the ball. You have to accept that many shots will be like this. It's not always going to be comfortable. Same with the flick. In practice, we always flick at the high point. But in a match, the opponent might deceive me, and my contact point is lower. I still have to calmly complete the stroke. Don't think that just because you were late to the ball, the point is lost. No. In a match, most situations are uncomfortable, not ideal. It's like a student asked me, I feel really awkward returning wide backhand serves. When someone's serve curves a bit, I always feel awkward hitting it. I told him to get his feet there. He said, I get my feet there, and it still feels awkward. I told him that contact point is awkward. You have to accept that this contact point is awkward. In an awkward situation, just focus on getting the ball back, then look to reset the point into your comfort zone. With this mindset, your service return will be much more composed. Hesitating in your ready position is the biggest challenge in service return. You mess up one return, and you immediately change your position from here to there. Then they serve to the other side, and you're late again.